Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Valentina Rubiglio, and I'm a senior scientist with C4ICRAF. I'm also part of the central component for the LFF project. The purpose of today's presentation, or better video, is to update you about our upcoming lessons learning process in LFF. We are recording this presentation so that each of you in the various ILM initiatives can take the time for reviewing the objective, approaches, steps, and results, and discuss it with the team. This will allow for more productive bilateral meetings later on to define and plan activities and involvement next year. At the central component, we have been considering various pathways and approaches for lessons learning, including learning events, webinar, structured workshop, and a systemic synthesis of findings that I'm presenting to you in more detail today. The goal is to collaborate with you in producing impactful policy and knowledge products to advance in the field of ILM. Learning about ILM, how to implement ILM more effectively, how to scale it up, and ultimately, how to make it a standard practice for the future of a new generation of projects and initiatives. So, from the focus on individual initiative, on single components, and compelling case studies, that is what we have been doing and will continue doing in 2025, we are interested in moving to the big picture. Therefore, we are proposing a different level of learning and collaboration across initiative and experts involved in them. In approaching the closing phase, we can now look at the big picture. What is emerging across initiatives as a whole? Appraising multiple initiatives in a systemic manner can generate the unique opportunity to understand the determinant of success of ILM implementation. We can capture the patterns of the interplay across components of one initiative, a suitable socioeconomic context, a well-designed sequencing, a capable interdisciplinary team. It depends. This process is designed to the benefit of a wide range of people and organizations involved in ILM. Firstly, we aim to help national and regional policymakers to create a better policies and strategies to support and scale up successful ILM. Secondly, this process will benefit donors and practitioners who are directly involved in ILM projects. They will gain a clearer understanding about implementation strategies, which one are more effective in which context of intervention. We hope this will help them designing and executing projects with a higher chance of success. Finally, this lesson learning process is also valuable for academic and researchers. By studying the experiences and outcomes of various ILM initiatives, they can fill critical knowledge gaps and contribute to a deeper understanding of ILM concepts, theories, and best practices. This will strengthen the foundation of ILM as a field and lead to a more effective approaches in the future. So, by taking a systemic approach, we define that success of ILM hinges on the dynamic interplay between the socio-ecological context, the project design, and its implementation in relation to ILM dimension, where determinants in each component influence their relationship and ultimately determine the capacity to achieve ILM outcomes. Each wheel here represents a critical factor, and all three are essential for the success of the project. The first wheel is context. This includes understanding the specific characteristic of the landscape, the people who live there, their livelihoods, the economy, political dynamics, and potential conflicts or shock. A successful ILM approach must be sensitive to this context and adapt to its unique challenges and opportunities, as this can impact on project success. The context includes external factors. The other two wheels correspond to internal factors. The project design includes the objective, the plan, the adequate resources, the effective stakeholders engagement elements that are crucial and that allow to interact with the landscape context and effectively operate to tackle sustainability challenge there. The third wheel is the implementation. How effectively are the ILM components put into practice? Are their activities sequenced appropriately? Are there feedback mechanisms and adaptive management strategies in place? So let's now take a look at the sequence of activities involved in this lesson learning journey that will combine the systemic synthesis and other products. First, it is a multi-step process that is based on country learning mission in 2022, on the summit outputs, and refers to the knowledge products. We begin with the online survey, that is what I will present shortly, which will provide us with essential baseline information about project context and design. So two of the components that we've been considering in the previous slide. Next, we will engage in bilateral consultation with each project team, including partners and stakeholders, either in person or virtually, depending on your preferences and on the feasibility. We will center and focus the discussion on ILM outcomes, how things were implemented and why they were implemented in this way. What were the elements that most likely generated impact and innovation in landscape management or that failed? In the analysis, we will look for emerging explanatory and causal patterns and reflect and learn together on what emerged before engaging in the writing. The sequence is designed to be iterative and adaptive. We are aware that you are going through the closing phase or through an NCA phase, so what we will propose is for us and each initiative to start planning to tailor the next steps on the basis of your availability and interest to be active part of the process and co-author of its results. We will remain flexible and responsive to your needs and feedbacks throughout the process and your willingness to take a more or less protagonic role. Before we move on, let's now take a moment to discuss the online survey. This is a crucial first step in our lesson learning process. Thinking at the three wheels I presented before, the survey first gathers key information about your project landscape and the context in which the initiative operates, to then focus on the key elements of project design. Please review it and fill it in with your team, the expert of different components that you consider relevant. You can log in the SurveyMonkey link or use the QR that we are providing in this slide. If you have any question or require assistance with the survey, please don't hesitate to contact the central component team, to contact George, to contact me. We are here to help. And we understand that completing the survey takes time and effort, but the information you will provide is invaluable to start the process and will allow all the project teams to benefit of it and progress together in the analysis. It helps us to build the first block of the systematization. As said, the survey focuses on two of the main components, the context and one intrinsic to the project element, that is the design. So about the landscape context, it delves into the specific of the landscape where your project operates, including the demography, so population density, distribution, growth, and social dynamics, cultural and livelihoods element like local customs, tradition, belief system, and how people make a living, economy, politics, like governance structure, power dynamics, decision-making processes, political stability, related to conflicts, so presence and history of conflicts, consequences of the conflicts, shock and disasters, and this overall sustainability challenge of the project, environmental issues, or social challenges that threaten the long-term health of a landscape. And the second part of the survey will focus on the project design, examining the design and planning of the project. So the funding opportunity, how the project was initiated, the funding sources, the alignment with funder priorities, the selection of the landscape, the rationale behind selecting the specific landscape for the project, how the project area was defined and the factors considered in determining boundaries, the strategies for involving local communities, government agencies, NGOs, and other stakeholders, and the selection of the partners, and the way in which the proposal was put together, the different steps involved in developing the project proposal, including, for example, capacity need assessment, the setting of goals, and the planning of activities. The information gathered through these two first components really helps us in setting the scene and understanding, getting the background situation of each of the projects in a systematic and comparable way, so that we can then look at the big picture this information can generate and analyze, then to move then to the analysis of the implementation outcome and the practices that led to the outcomes. So the systemic analysis continues with in-country mission. That's the ideal, is visits in early 2025. So they will involve in-person visits or, as an alternative, dedicated virtual session, depending on the specific circumstances, stage, and preferences of each project team. During this mission, or this set of webinars, we aim to achieve the following. We will share the key finding from the online survey, giving you and your team and partners an opportunity to validate the data and provide further context or insights. We will conduct an open discussion to get to an assessment of ILM outcomes using a set of indicators and a ranking covering the 6 ILM dimensions. And this will help us understanding how far did you go with ILM in your landscape. We will have an in-depth discussion about implementation pathway for the various dimensions, including any changes, strategies, and activities that have been undertaken since the initial phase of the proposal. We will also gather perspective from external stakeholders to gain a broader understanding of the outcomes and their perceptions. Integrating data from the first learning mission, the online survey, and the performance assessment and pathways, we will then reflect together on the internal and external factors that have influenced project performance and their interplay. Where possible, we will be doing that collectively in summit or webinars, but that is still to be discussed. The main idea is that you, as experts, are put in the condition to contribute as much as possible. Now, let us move to the stage where we will consolidate all the valuable information and insights we have gathered. As said, there is a diverse range of outputs that we aim to generate collaboratively. So it is not just about a single report for the synthesis. It's about creating a rich landscape of knowledge products, a body of knowledge that capture the essence of our collective learning. So outputs will include the systemic global synthesis on the determinants, that is what I just described, but also there will be a series of country project briefs that will develop to highlight key lessons learned and achievement from individual projects, showcasing their unique contribution to the broader ILM landscape. Case studies and deep dives that will allow to highlight specific project or teams conducting detailed analysis and building a narrative to extract the valuable insights and best practices in specific landscape. Knowledge products like articles, policy brief, presentation and webinars, and tools and guidelines. That is something that, as you know, we have already started to put together and we have shared throughout the project. So just look at this slide and note that the red circles that you can see emphasize the crucial role that you can play in this process. So in the synthesis, in the country project brief, and in the case studies. And we really encourage you to actively participate and collaborate in shaping this output. So now we are almost finished. Let's just take a moment to review the next steps. The immediate action is crucial. We know you are super busy, but we really encourage you to revisit this presentation, familiarize yourself with the various stages involved in the lesson learning, understand the sequence of events that will help us preparing and engaging more effectively. Please complete the online survey with your team members and experts. If you need any support, don't hesitate to contact the central component team, to contact George and myself, and possibly do that within the next week so that we can immediately, or next days, so that we can immediately realize if there are any issues that we need to solve and find the best way to support you. Also consider the option available for the different steps of the ILM implementation assessment and the follow-up reflection. And let's get in touch so that then we can choose the approaches that best suits your projects, team partners, and stakeholders' needs and preferences. Whether it will be an in-person mission, a set of virtual session, or a blended approach in between. We can also think at how to generate a summit next year based on all these, but that's, as I said, is still under discussion. So let's schedule a meeting with each of you to discuss your project-specific need and plan for the upcoming activities in 2025 so that we can ensure a well-tailored process that is sustainable for all. In conclusion, this lesson learning process is a collaborative endeavor. We really believe that by working together, sharing our experience, and learning from each other in a structured way, we can advance in the field of ILM. So thank you for your time and for your attention. We really look forward to embarking on these next steps of this exciting journey with you. Please get in touch with our focal point and teams. And thank you. Bye.